Hi, today I want to talk to you about how I went and took my dad bod, went from 28.1% body fat and took it all the way down to 15% body fat in a year. Who am I? I'm Brian Stecker. I'm the owner of a gym called Boomer Fitness here in Vancouver, Washington. I also been a trainer for the past 20 years. Help people have more health, more energy, and overall better confidence. Well, you're probably thinking, how did a personal trainer get to 28.1% body fat in the first place? Well, COVID didn't help, the stress of that. I just lost track of some fundamentals. So one thing that came up for me is I became a single dad. And I take care of my son the majority of the time. And we're a couple months away from that being 2 years of me being a single dad. And I know a lot of single dads that I train, or grandparents who send their sons in to train. And what ends up happening is when you have a child, your whole world changes. Your focus goes on your family. Your focus goes on your child, and it interrupts your routine, interrupts your work, interrupts your workouts, interrupts your sleep, interrupts your eating. So when I found out my energy levels were going down, and I checked in with myself and I did a body fat test, and I was 28.1% body fat, and it's for a trainer. That was not a good standard. And if you're there, what I would recommend doing is getting out of that zone as soon as possible, because anything for a man above 25% body fat is unhealthy. So here's how I went about doing it. The first thing I did, and I do with most of my goals in my life, from the time I graduated high school, joined the military, graduate college after the military, become a trainer, graduate college, start a gym. I've always pulled out a notebook and I wrote down my goals. And why it's important to write down your goals is you have this thing in your mind. It's called the RAS. It's called the reticular activating system. And me being in the military, I worked on missiles, and missiles shot off the jet, especially those AIM-9s, and they track right on the target and they hit it. Well, the RAS is similar in that sense of, is, have you ever bought a car, a shirt or something, and you never noticed it before, but then all of a sudden you notice it everywhere? That's your RAS. You notice it after you bought it, and then you notice it everywhere. That's your RAS. So when you write down your goals, what ends up happening is that RAS kicks in, and your mind is going to start finding everything you can do to get there. After that, I wrote down on a piece of paper why it was important to me. Because there's two levels of motivation. There's like one, like looking at pictures of yourself and not recognizing yourself. And I was there, and people were like, oh, you're great, look great. But I knew my standards. And then there's the deeper goal of your core values, of why it's really important to you. So when you're writing your goals down, you know, you have those goals to fit in your jeans, look better in pictures. But, you know, I have clients that have those goals, and they usually don't last very long as clients, because that's not the true motivation. You got to go deeper. So you say, the one way to go deeper is ask yourself the question, why is this important to you? And then say, why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? And things that were important to me, and probably important to you as a single dad, is you want to be a great role model for your child. As for me, it's for my son. You want to be able to have the energy to keep up once they start getting moving. My guy's almost 2, so we go to the playground, he's running everywhere, and I have to have the energy to keep up. So I wrote down my reasons why. And then the second thing that helped with those goals is first thing in the morning, have my water with electrolytes, have my coffee, pull out that notepad, and then I looked at it. and I looked at why I'm doing it and why it was important to me. And then the next step is I put my hand on my heart, I'd breathe it in, and I would see what that goal is like, I'd feel what that goal is like, and I'd recap how I've been successful. So that's the first thing. So let me know down in the comment section why this goal is important for you as a single dad and why you want to transfer your dad bod more than just fitting into some jeans and looking better in a t-shirt, because the deep why is going to get you there. The next thing that you probably all tuned in for was the exercise routine. Well, I was out of the habit of what I normally did. So for my exercise routine, I asked myself, and with this whole routine, I asked myself, can I do this for the rest of my life? You know, I had other goals before, like when I played sports. You know, I'd work super hard to that end date and I'd be burned out at the end. And I didn't really want to do it. I want to take a break. I'd do a bodybuilding show, do different 5Ks and set really high goals, doing them in 20 minutes. Never could sustain it. So how I wanted to change my paradigm this time is saying, how can I do this for the rest? Can I do this for the rest of my life? And how can I do this for the rest of my life? So I started off with, just getting more active. So the first step is I set a goal, no matter what, it was my standard, is to get 10,000 steps a day. No matter what. And that's what I would do. And how did I do it? I have a treadmill in my garage. So I have a baby monitor. When Junior was asleep, I'd watch the baby monitor and I would do my cardio. On days where he wasn't sleeping as well, and I fed him and he wanted to be up, we'd go in a stroller and we'd go for a walk. And there'd be some days where I would get 7,000 steps, but on different days, like on a Sunday, I have a little more time because I'm not working, we would get the stroller out and we'd go for a walk. So I have my activity that way. The second thing I would do is my resistance training. And resistance training can be hard sometimes because of the lack of sleep of being a dad, the stress of work. So I made it easy on myself. I did one day of an upper body day, and I'll do a video on that workout for you so you can have it. And then the second day was a combination of a total body workout. And then the third day was a calisthenic workout that I could do from home. I put the notepad in my phone, and what I would do is I try to get better every workout. I write down what weights I did. So if I did incline press and I did 6 reps at 205, I'd write that down. And next week, I'd try to do 1 more rep. And I would do that for all the exercises. And I'd have that right on my phone, and I'd look and I'd want to improve, and that motivated me. And the other thing is why I did the workouts that way. Again, back to that question, can I do this for the rest of my life? Or do I want to do this? Is doing that kind of workout made it sustainable. If something came up where my son got sick, which happened with some ear infections, then I'd have to go to the doctor, throw my whole day off. I could pick up right from there and go, not like in the past where I do a bodybuilding show or something, and if I missed one day, I would feel guilty or feel like I couldn't reach my goals because of missing that day. What this actually let me do is be consistent. As we know, consistency is key. So with that progressive overload of doing those 2 workouts per week and that cardio, that helped me get that going. More importantly than just the physical change from doing the exercise, some days, you're a single parent, let me know, where you got the dad bod. Like some days you're just in a brain fog, you're tired, you're exhausted, maybe not in the right mental state, grouchy, as I should say, or just overwhelmed. What I would do is getting those 15-minute walks were the most important thing that I would do in that day, because it cleared my mind, helped me focus on the positives. And sometimes, even though I didn't want to do it, sometimes I rebelled, like, I don't want to do it. But by doing it, sometimes that 15 minutes turned into 20 minutes. And then that 20 minutes turned to 30, and once in a while it turned into 45 to an hour, because I just felt better. And it helped give me clarity for the rest of my day to do extremely well with my progress. The next one was nutrition. And what I did for nutrition is I kept that pretty simple. I didn't want to extreme diet because that wasn't sustainable. I did that with some, again, back to bodybuilding shows, athletics, and I would always end up feeling burned out by that. So what I did is follow the 80-20 rule. 20% you do gives you 80% of the results. Is I went and I just, in the beginning, just ate good portions. Ate 3 portions of a lean protein a day, the size of the palm of my hand. And then I would have 2 complex carbohydrates and vegetables. And I just did that in the beginning, just to get in the rhythm of finding what I really enjoyed to eat. And that's where I started. And as we know, it's calories in, calories out, but I didn't want to obsess over it. Later on, I did bring my FitnessPal in and I started tracking to make sure I hit my calories. So that was another thing I did. If you really want to go macros, that I did focus on every day, as I made sure I got at least 170 grams of protein a day to maintain my lean body mass, which I maintained it all the way through. The last one, well, how often did you measure? I didn't care about the measurements in the beginning. I did the initial one, and actually maybe it's because I was so bummed and so sad about how far I let myself go, because part back to that, your why. My identity is that of a trainer, and when you have an identity of something, you're going to act congruent with that identity. And me being a trainer, I always took it for granted that I was fit, I was strong, had endurance, but I let stress get the best of me. I focused on the bigger problems in my life. I didn't make myself the priority, which then led me to where I was, which was a lesson in itself. I really didn't focus on the scale. I would do it every 6 weeks is when I would do my check-in on the in-body. When I did my check-in with the in-body every 6 weeks, I moved forward. And if you're looking for more technical stuff, you want to lose about 0.5%, 2% a week. Mine didn't go like that because, again, I want to do this for life. I want to find foods I could sustain. But overall, I got to my goal from 28.1% down to 15%. And now I'm making the move to the next goal. I couldn't control the scale or the circumference measurements. And what I could control were my actions, what I ate, how I worked out, how I got my steps. So focus on that, what you can control, because you can't control the scale. And the more I focus on what I could control would get me there. And the last one that really helped a lot is I eliminated vices. For me, a vice, 2 vices that I really would enjoy is on the weekends, I would enjoy some old fashions or bourbon. If you like old fashions or bourbon, let me know in the comments below which one you like. What I did is I decided to go dry for periods of time, and what that allowed me to do is cut those calories out, but gave me more energy. And the other vice is I love potato chips, and I couldn't lie to myself about potato chips because it wasn't just one serving of potato chips. If I had potato chips in the house and I can't have them in the house, I'll eat the whole flipping bag. So, because I lie to myself, I'll pour myself a serving, 14 chips. And what is 14 chips anyway? And I ended up just eating the whole bag. I was like, yeah, I have one more serving. Like, oh, we're almost done, just finish on. Next thing you know, you're over 1,000, 1,300 calories from a bag of chips. All right, so eliminate the vices. And then last one's accountability and support. And I got some coaching. You're probably thinking, why would a trainer get a coach? Well, what I liked about the coach that I hired is every day when I woke up, I would check in. I would send an email about what I completed that day. And I knew in my mind that I'd have to be accountable and turn that in. And that was the first thing. And that really created momentum. And when I would slip up, he'd be like, all right, let's create the next thing. Or when I got really good at my base habits, the coach challenged me to implement some new habits. Like, okay, we got the eating quality foods down. Let's get into calories. Okay, we got calories down. Let's get into macros. Oh, you're getting your steps every day? How's your body feeling? Why don't you try 1 day a week, a zone 5 cardio interval training? So we progressed it, and that made it more sustainable. But those check-ins and that accountability were good, but also having that feedback of adjustments to make on a daily basis or weekly basis was really helpful. And you have those days where you just don't feel like doing it. Gave you a sounding board to talk about it and to think bigger, and that was good. The second thing, accountability and support, was a friend of mine gifted me an online UPW course, and that was extremely helpful. The most helpful part to that is, like, I would say there's, you know, in the course they said you have a drug of choice. It's not a drug, it's an emotional state that you live with on a day-to-day basis. And mine was overwhelm and stressed, and then you decided what emotion you wanted to replace that with, and mine was gratitude and empowerment. And that helped me move forward and look at the things that were good in my life, and not only look at the things that were good in my life, but, you know, I'm in control of those things. So empowerment was taking action each day to move forward. So that was some accountability. And then the other piece of coaching that helped me out was just mine, was as I had a daily devotional that I read every single day. I believe in a higher power, believe in God. You can believe in a higher power, but that helped me connect to, for me, God, and see the bigger picture and see what I need to focus on that day. It gave me perspective, gave me a little reading. It was good. I know this is outside the normal content that I normally do, but I just feel like the content I make for this channel is authentic because I train a lot of boomers at my gym and online. I've been trying to train some more single dads and dads that have dad bods, and they want to change it, but they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to start, and they're embarrassed because most time guys suffer in silence. So quit suffering in silence. If you need some help, you need some support, reach out to me. Down below there's a link. You can click on the link and it'll give you a 15-minute call with me, and I can see if I can help you out. You guys have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.